Ciao everyone and welcome back to another episode of Let's Learn Italian with Songs. Specifically today we are going to talk about Sottomarini by Mahmood. As I explained in the previous video, I gave priority to the top 5 of Sanremo 2025, but during the festival something else happened. As in, Mahmood presented his new song and final chapter of an album that is going on for some time, nei letti degli altri, in others people beds. So let's start as always from the title of the song, Submarines, which is the translation of Sottomarini. As I said, it comes from the album Nei letti degli altri, in other people's beds, and it represents the last chapter. It's not something I interpreted, it is an actual thing that the singer, the artist, said. So, as usual, I went and looked for interviews to the artist, and this is what he oh, I'm very happy. Like, I had to start earlier. I'm a bit sorry because like I have things to do later, so yeah, we are going to have some fun today. Okay, it is not really from an interview what I found, but from his Instagram post. Mahmood posts things on Instagram, and in some posts he says things about his songs, his new releases, and whatnot. Specifically, you can go and check his latest post. Of course, I'm talking about when this video is being recorded. And he specifically wrote, I am translating it because the posts are in Italian, and he explained, Submarines, the translation of Sottomarini, the title of the song, is the last page, you can interpret it also translated as the last chapter, of an LDA, which is the acronym, I don't anyway, the starting letters of nei letti degli altri, in other people's beds. This song is the drawing of how I left and how I remain, a boy who has always tried to protect his inner child. The fear of remaining on the surface in everyday life, in relationships and judgments, in what allowed me to write this song. After all, how can someone who hasn't had roommates go deep? We would need submarines, which is one of the verses, specifically in Italian. Come fa ad andare in profondità chi non ha avuto coinquilini? Servirebbero sottomarini. We are going to see the lyrics in a few minutes. Now, concerning the album, because since this is the last chapter of the album, it is also important to mention a couple of things the artist wrote about the album. It is composed by 13 tracks, and about this Mahmood wrote, always in Italian, I am translating the best I can. I started writing it a while ago. I thought about the bed because it is our safe harbor, the place we return to in the evening, the place where we look at the ceiling or love or cry. It is where emotions take shape. I have traveled a lot, staying in the beds of many hotels. And I had to move 3 houses, among 3 houses, in the space of in the time of a few months. I returned to my mother's house after my first rented house burned down. For example, I didn't know about this. I have exercised many demons on the bed, and I feel I have matured a lot. So that's why the album talks about beds, others' beds, other people's beds, as a representation of a place where our feelings grow, develop, get exercised, and they manifest. Okay. And it is, according to what Mahmood explained, biographical. It is clear because we saw this also in Tuta Gold. Tuta Gold is one of the 13 tracks composing this album. So we can see a lot about who the artist is, what was his development, his dream, his memories, how his feelings, and so on. This song, this track, is another example of this theme. We can call it like that. So let's move and check the lyrics. I am like, nope. Okay, it didn't work before, but we got it. So we start with the intro. Non ho mai scelto troppe cose nella vita da fare. I never chose too many things in life to do. Forse son sempre stato solo particolare. Maybe I've always been alone. Just particular. Peculiar. Particolare means particular, so focused on something specific. In this case, we can translate it as peculiar. What I want to stress a little bit more is the clever usage of the word solo. Solo is an Italian word with many meanings, okay? And here it is used with two different meanings, as you can see from the translation. In fact, solo, masculine, sola, feminine, can mean alone, because in this case it is used as an adjective. However, in the second case, it is an adverb, which means just or only. So, if you see the trick, forse son stato sempre solo particolare. In this way, solo, it is used as a bridge for the double meaning of the sentence. Because here we see Mahmood saying, I felt alone, because, or also, I was special. Okay, and probably because I was special, I was alone. It is a verse, a line quite hard to translate, because in English I can't think of a word with this double meaning connecting so well the first and the second part of the verse. So this is one of the issues of just relying on the translation, because you can lose these nuances. And it is a shame, because in this case it is also part of the meaning of the verse. A feeling that many people feel the classical feeling we feel, sorry for the repetition, mainly when we are, I would say, teenagers, not feeling understood and thus feeling alone. The classic thing that is also a bit memed about, I'm not like the others, but it is a feeling that I would say people feel at least once in their lives. And it is usually a feeling that leads you to feel alone. That's why this usage of the word solo, it is very interesting. Then we have the first verse. Mi ricordo da bambino scene pericolose. I remember as a child dangerous scenes. Ora vedo i bimbi han l'iPhone mentre fanno le pose. Now I see the children. They have the iPhone while they pose. Bimbi means children. Probably you heard it also in another version, which is bambini. They are synonyms. And then we have, due to metric needs, an instead of anno. There are many verbs or words in Italian that can be truncated like this. In fact, there was another example in the intro as well. Son instead of sono. And here an instead of anno. It is quite common to cut the last syllable or the last vowel. Now, concerning these two first lines, what can be the issue? Okay, as far as I read through what the artist wrote, here we have the dichotomy between what is real and what is fake, because this whole thing about not being authentic, it is pretty much the main theme of the song. And here we have an authentic childhood with dangerous scenes from the perspective of Mahmood. And then we have the children with the iPhone acting out or acting, generally speaking, on social media. That's why, like, you know, posing on TikTok, for example. Usually the truncations are style choices, okay? It is often used in poetry and songs lyrics, because lyrics are a form of poetry, right? You can use it. Like, I don't think people would have issues understanding you. It is a bit poetic, okay? Maybe nobody would like be, oh my god, I can't understand you. But it would be like, I don't know if, you know, when you speak in English using like Shakespeare pronouns, for example, thee, thou, and so on. You understand for the memes, okay? People would understand you. It would just look a bit more poetic. So if you like to use truncated words, you can. It might sound a bit funny. That's it. Nothing too bad. Let's put it like that. Anyway, as I was saying, we have the distinction between being authentic and being fake. Now, Mahmood, Alessandro. These two lines sounds a bit like back in my days, the children didn't have the iPhones. No problem. But like, I don't really understand. Like, I understand that probably Mahmood saw as a child like some shit, as you might say. but guys, he's not a mafia child, like, um, like it's like every time I see rappers, mainly from Milan, or because the city I come from is similar to Milan, like we have bad neighborhoods, okay? We have like infamous blocks, but it's not that bad. Like, yes, being in a bad situation, it is bad, of course, but it is bad not really because of the block. What I'm trying to say, Mahmood went through some shit, not because of the place he lived in, but because of his family. It will be mentioned further on in the song, in the lyrics, and it is mentioned in other lyrics of other songs that he doesn't have a good relationship with his father because the father abandoned the family and got convicted in prison. So, you know, this is like, I don't know what's worse between having a problematic family which abandons you, or that doesn't function well, or having a dysfunctional family dropping on you an iPhone without any indication as a child. In my opinion, are both problematic situations, and I don't really see the dichotomy between authentic and fake. Like, it is problematic either way. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Like, I understand that it's quite common to associate being fake with the abuse of social media. And I understand that is a problem that hits more newer generations, like, for example, Gen Z or Gen Alpha and so on, are affected by this problem. Pretty much, I understand it is a problem, but I like it. It's like, it's not a competition, and it's not something you can brag about. I am from the same generation of Mahmood, because he's 2 years older than me, because he's from 94, I am 96. Now, it is like me saying, back in my days, when I went to high school, I had a horse on one walk, like on one side of the road, and drug dealers from the other one. By the way, I'm not lying. It is actually something true. Like, back in my days, when I wanted to hang out with my friends and party, I used to go to a block, like, which was one of the most infamous of the city. Like, it is true, okay? Like, I'm not lying. This is actually things that I did. But because it wasn't that bad, like, I went to the best high school of my city. Okay, it's a big city, Torino. Close, like, not as busy as Milan, but close. And despite attending classes at the best high school in the city, or like one of the best, it was really in a block where I had hookers on one side and drug dealers on the others. I survived, never bad happened to me, despite every now and then these people breaking into the school at night, for example, and destroying things, because the block was that way. Like, I see a lot of rappers and trappers in Italy trying to copy the style of the US rappers and trappers. But the issue, guys, is that it doesn't work because it is not the same. In Italy, if there is a gunfight, like if people shoot each other down, you have ambulances going to pick you up and save you, because we don't care if you are a criminal, if you're a gang member, if you are a mafia person. We are going to heal you, and because we don't want you to die and bleed out on the street. I'll tell you more. In Italy, there are certain categories, and among these categories, there are doctors, nurses, and whatnot, like any part of the medical staff. And these categories are protected by a special type of secret. It means that no matter what you tell them, they cannot tell that to the police. This is made so if there's a criminal in need of help, health-wise, because they are wounded or something happened and they need health assistance, like medical assistance, the doctors, the nurses, the medical staff need to intervene and to make them feel safe, because they need those cares, because they are human beings. The state put in place this type of rules. So even if you are a criminal, you need to feel safe, because the medical environment is one of those environments where you need to feel safe. This in US does not happen. They leave people dying on the street. In Italy, the system, the medical system, is completely different, and having this type of healthcare makes a big difference. All right, and you can find the same system also in other countries of Europe. That's why I'm not saying it's the same. Also, you might expect, when thinking about rap, US trap and rap, people gunning each other down. Let me be clear about this. In Italy, it is unlikely, because access to guns is like, guns are not that accessible like in other countries, like for example US. So I was going without problems in bad parts of the city, even at night, to party or drink out and hang out with my friends. And I never had issues, because if you know how to handle yourself in those situations, you don't have issues. Of course, you need to know how to yeah, exactly. But you see the big difference that this makes. Anyway, as I was saying, I went there. Of course, you don't go with jewels, you don't go with like showing money, you don't go looking for problems, you stay with your group, you know where, like, you go where you know you can go, right? Like, you need to know the place. You need to know that, like, how not to mess with people. You need to know how to behave in that situation. But if you have these hints, the thing is not dangerous, because generally speaking, a drug dealer, like, the worst thing they can have usually, it's a knife. I'm not saying it's not dangerous, all right, but knife objectively less dangerous than a gun, okay? And generally speaking, if you don't piss people off, you are safe. If you do your things and you stay with your people, you are safe. You have no problems. What Mahmood is like, the main danger of concerning Mahmood probably was from his own family, not even from a block. Okay, I want to be clear about this. It was more of a family issue. And even in that case, having a bad situation at home that reflects in you being exposed to home violence, or having your parents abandoning you to a phone or a tablet or a PC, it is bad. Also because he says, I remember as a child dangerous scenes. It can be equally dangerous to just give a child access, unlimited access to internet. I tell you because in the end, besides everything I do on this channel, I am mainly and first a jurist specialized in digital content. I know, trust me, how dangerous it can be to expose a child or even a teenager to internet, generally speaking, without indication, without control, like completely freely. Bad things can happen, trust me. So these two things between dangerous scenes for me, authentic, um, children with iPhones, fake. Love you, Mahmood, but doesn't really work. It is a lazy dichotomy, and this is pretty much the only critique I have for the song, but due to intellectual honesty, I wanted to point it out. Then we have come fa ad andare in profondità. How does implied someone go deep? Chi non ha avuto coinquilini, literally who hasn't had roommates, so those people who never had roommates. Servirebbero sottomarini. Submarines would be needed. Now, here I had to do the here I had to do the inversion of the words, the structure of the sentence, because as I explained several times, in Italian you can pretty much play with the elements of the sentence. So you can put the verb before the subject, you can put the verb far away from the subject. Of course, I wouldn't suggest doing it, mainly when you speak normally. But it is common in poetry, in songs, and when like the whole point is to do style choices for what you write or what you sing in this case. So in this case, servirebbero, it is literally would be needed, because it is impersonal. Another way to put it would be we or you, intended as impersonal, would need submarines, but in this case, sottomarini is the subject. In fact, servirebbero is plural. That's why I literally translated it as submarines would be needed. Now, concerning this second section of the first verse, it is a metaphor. It is a metaphor and also the source, the related to the title of the explanation of the title. The title, as we said, is Sottomarini, submarines. Because what submarines do? They go in the depths of the sea. I don't know, also lakes, I don't know, like body of water, but generally in the sea. So it is a metaphor hinting at going deep relationship wise, and in fact it starts with how do people go deep if they never had roommates. So it is a little bit like how can you have deep and authentic relationships if you never had people to share your life with. Okay, here roommates is, I think it is meant as a metaphor, hinting at sharing your life, because normally if you live with someone, no matter the relationship, you can all be simply roommates, but you have some sort of relationship because it is kind of forced, okay? Because it is in our nature as human beings. So it is a little bit, how can you be authentic and deep with other people if you never shared your life with someone else? We need to go deep like submarines do in water. And then we have the final section of this first verse, and this is a reference to his past, as I mentioned in the introduction. Come sta mamma? How is mom doing? Because come stai means how are you? Sembra rinascere. She seems to reborn. As in, she seems to do better. She seems doing better. Come stavo io? How I was quando ti ho visto fuori dal carcere, when I saw you outside the prison, because as I mentioned before, the father of Mahmood went to prison for a couple of years when he was just a child. Of course, these events are seriously problematic. There are psychology studies showing how impactful are certain types of experiences when you are a child. And there are studies showing how higher the chances are, like how impactful are experiences such as having a parent or someone close going to prison, because all around the world prisons are very specific place. They shape people in a very specific way, a very problematic way from a sociological point of view. And this can affect children very badly. In fact, there are studies showing how like there are certain experiences like having a beloved one going to prison among like the top 10 worst thing that can happen to a child. There are also like, for example, harassment, exposure to violence, and things like that. So quite bad. Then we have the bridge. Più che l'umanità, more than humanity, qui guardano l'incasso. Here they look at the cash, where they look is impersonal. Incasso, literally speaking, is what you get, like the amount of money you get when you do something. So, for example, in this case, since it's a song by Mahmood, I imagine of a concert, of a performance, okay? Della virilità, about virility, non me ne fotte un cazzo. I don't give a shit. Here he's clearly criticizing all the newspapers and public people, calling him out for being effeminate. We had several cases. It happened also with other singers, male singers, of course, like also Mengoni, for example, just to mention one. And they are criticized for their looks because they are effeminate, because they don't match the alpha Chad stereotype, okay? So it is basically a rejection of toxic masculinity, because this is what we are talking about. A little note about non me ne fotte un cazzo, which is a vulgar expression in Italian to say I don't give a shit. In Italian, we use the verb to fuck and dick. So literally, we don't say we don't give a shit, but we say that we don't fuck a dick, literally speaking. But the meaning is I don't care, I don't give a shit, I don't give a fuck. Then we have the pre-chorus. Mi consolerò, I'll console myself, con te, with you, più semplicità che Chanel, more simplicity than Chanel. Chanel here is mentioned as an example of a brand associated with luxury products. Here we have another easy criticism, if you will, hinting at all those people. Yeah, spicy vocabulary, because I am honest, I mention everything. Preciseness. But as I was saying, Chanel here, it is used as an emblem of luxury item products, because Chanel provides their target with perfumes in the first place, but also expensive outfits, to speak in general, generally speaking. And of course, here we have again the dichotomy between authenticity, thus simplicity, and flexing rich brands, okay? Dimmelo chi sei, tell me who you are, literally would be tell me it, tell me that, who you are. Non è solo il sesso che vorrei, it's not just sex that I like, con te, with you. So again, another expression of the main theme of the song, which is I don't want superficiality, I want authenticity, I want to go deep in our relationship, because it's not just sex, it is a relationship, it is a connection. I want you to stay with me, I want to know you. I don't want just to pay for your company, okay? Then we have the chorus. Ma provare a capirti, and this first line connects to the last of the pre-chorus, but trying to understand you, to try understanding you, because here is the connection. It's not just it's not just sex I'd like with you, but to try understanding you. That's the connection between the pre-chorus and the chorus. Per ore, for hours, because of course it's something that takes time to know each other. Ti provoco e resisti. I provoke you and you resist. Probably a hint to all those situations where one of the two people put a wall in between, which ruins the relationship. Per ore, for hours. Alla fine basterà. In the end, it will be enough, or it will suffice. Cadere negli abissi, to fall in the abyss. insieme, together, per ore, per ore, per ore. For hours, for hours, for hours. Another hint, another connection with the title of the song, To Fall into the Abyss, because it is connected to the title Submarines. A little note here, cadere negli abissi, to fall in the abyss. In Italian, here, abissi is plural. In fact, we have l'abisso, the abyss, singular, and gli abissi, plural. The usage changes according to the context. In this case, cadere nell'abisso probably would have been more negative, at least to me would have given more negative connotation. Here, cadere negli abissi makes me think more about the submarines, because of course submarines go around and explore the abyss, but as the ocean bed. Okay. Then we have the second verse. C'è chi sorride come fosse tutto ok. There are those who smile as if everything were ok. C'è chi non vive se non prende un po' di K. There are those who don't live if they don't take a bit of K. Quick note, K is urban colloquial expression indicating a type of drug, which is ketamine. Another note, considering c'è chi sorride, c'è chi non vive, c'è chi is an Italian expression meaning there are those who. However, literally, in Italian, we don't use the plural, we use the singular. In fact, c'è chi literally translates as there is who, and in fact, sorride, vive are both third person, but singular. Of course, in English we need to use the plural because the equivalent, the English equivalent is plural. Ti fottono le idee, they steal your ideas, poi si credono artisti. Then they think, impersonal, they are artists. Now, here, Mahmood is clearly hinting at something that happened, but sadly I am not enough in the gossip, in the Mahmood fan base to know. I tried asking on threads, but nobody answered the question, so I don't know. If you know the how can I say, the person Mahmood is talking to here, let me know in the comments, because at this point I'm also quite interested. But personally, right now, I don't know who's referencing here. Good question. I have no clue. I just know that I've been told that K, it is an urban abbreviation for ketamine. So let's thank Alex, my loyal assistant, who knows a lot of urban terminology in English. I am very ignorant in this case, but I also checked the Urban Dictionary. Indeed, I have to confirm what Alex told me. I don't know, in Tuta Gold I thought the K was like the money, but it could be. It could be. Tuta Gold and Sottomarini are in the end from the same album. So, I have no truths in my pockets, just theories, so could be, maybe, who knows, probably only Mahmood. Then we have Mahmood keeps like stressing the concept, ti tolgono il rispetto, they take away literally speaking, the respect, as in the respect from you, ogni volta che tu non reagisci, every time you do not react. Yeah, just for scientific purposes, indeed. Butti la tua relazione nel cesso. You throw your relationship in the toilet, where cesso actually is slightly vulgar. Impegnarsi non è la tua vibe. Commitment is not your vibe. Vibe, of course, it is, in this case, the English word. In Italian, we usually say non è la tua cosa, is not your thing, but due to metric reason, I understand, and to rhyme, I understand. And here we have the best lines of these lyrics, and probably one of the reasons why this is one of my favorite love songs ever, like I announced on Discord a few days ago. Cerchi privacy, ma non la dai. You seek privacy, but you do not give it. Che te ne fotte se amo lui o amo lei? What do you give? Why do you give a fuck if I love him or love her? Now, privacy, it is indeed the English term. I press something. We have in Italian a term for it, but we also use the English term privacy. In Italian would be riservatezza. And in fact we say la privacy because we kept the gender of the Italian equivalent, which is la riservatezza. In fact, privacy in Italian is feminine. Could be because I am specialized in data protection and privacy that I specifically like these verses, I admit that. But like, I really do agree, because I know plenty of people who don't want to share anything about themselves, but they want to know everything about the other person, and trust doesn't work like that. And also, che te ne fotte se amo lui o amo lei? Why do you give a fuck if I love him or love her? And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mahmood venting because of what happened last time at Sanremo, so during Sanremo 2024, if I remember correctly. What happened? Someone did outing. What is outing? Outing, it is not coming out. When you come out, implied from the closet, it is a US English, I guess. I'm not sure if the origin is from US or UK English, but it is an English expression indicating that you willingly expose, like make public your sexuality. So, for example, in this case, we are talking about celebrities. So, when a celebrity in an interview, in I don't know, a post or something, they reveal something about their sexuality. Now, last year, I don't really remember the dynamics of all of this, but if you check out Sanremo 2024 Mahmood outing, you will find something, I'm sure about it. What happened is that in a TV show, radio show maybe, two journalists kept saying that Mahmood is bisexual, and in another context, another celebrity, without, probably this person is a bit aged, so doesn't even know what outing is, explained that she was invited dining with Mahmood at his apartment, and she mentioned that his boyfriend cooked. Now, we don't know what is Mahmood's sexuality, and like his own business. Here he's probably mentioning the fact that he's bisexual. I don't know. But I kind of felt it because I am pansexual, but usually I don't mention it unless I am asked to. It's not that when I'm introducing myself, I say, oh, hi, I am pansexual. Also because this would lead to a whole explanation of what does it mean being pansexual, and I don't have all this time. I'm not saying this with hatred or something. It's just that like if you have to explain because one of the most frequently asked questions is what's the difference between bisexual and pansexual, and every fucking time I have to explain it. So usually I don't say it unless it becomes relevant in a discussion, okay? And I perfectly understand, even for bisexual, not wanting every time to make it public. Yeah, exactly, Gaston, exactly. We don't know exactly if he's bisexual. Also because bisexuality is still a struggle, and I'm not joking. Because you are also pansexuality, probably even worse, because you are always in that situation where if you are with a person of your gender, so in a homosexual relationship, you have heterosexual like shunning you as but it is just a phase. Before you were with a person before you were in an heterosexual relationship, so you are just going to redeem yourself. So then you are kinda in a situation where like you are kind of pissed if you break up with that person about dating a person of the opposite sex and passing from a homosexual relationship to an heterosexual relationship, because then you have people like, oh my god, you healed, and you're like, no, I still like both genders, or like gender still doesn't matter to me if you are pansexual. And you have people who are like, oh, but who cares? Why do you have to say it? The important thing is that now you are in a heterosexual relationship. But you also have the other side of the coin, which is also the queer community shunning you if you go back or you start a heterosexual relationship, because in the end there are many queer people who say, oh, see, in the end, you are not really queer because you can choose, because you can decide not to be queer. So, like, you are in gray zone where nobody wants you, nobody likes you, and you are judged only accordingly to your partner. So basically, whatever you pick, it is the definitive choice. From now on, you just like that gender or that sex, and everything before has to be erased and it is not valid anymore. Like, it is so tempting to be in a polyamorous relationship, both heterosexual and homosexual, just to prove a point, I swear to God. And I, like, from my point of view, since I've been there, it can also be an explanation for the first verse, for the first line of the intro, introducing the song. Non ho mai scelto troppe cose nella vita da fare. I never chose too many things in life to do. And from my point of view, this might hint at the fact that many people, if you are bisexual or pansexual, often think that is a choice. That if you you can choose a gender, you can choose the gender or the sex of the person you are loving. Guys, doesn't work like that. Simply put. So, in my opinion, this is also related to the first line. Then we have another bridge. C'è chi ti giudica. There are those who judge you. Solo per un abbraccio. Just for a hug. Here Mahmood is cooking and I'm like, I'm with you, bro. Nella fragilità, in fragility, vediamo sempre il marcio. We always see the rotten. Vedere il marcio is an Italian expression meaning to see the bad thing, the negative thing of a situation, of a person, of a thing, as in having always a malicious perspective, so intentionally looking for negative aspects of something or someone. So not something positive, okay? It is something we do intentionally in this expression. And here probably he was hinting at the fact that many people started to focus on the fact that last year, during Sanremo 2024, he hugged Marco Mengoni, who is, it is public information that Marco Mengoni is gay. So many people started to say, oh, see, we told you Mahmood is gay because he hugged Marco Mengoni. Probably is a reference also to other episodes because it is a lot of homophobia going on in Italy, not gonna lie. But it could be something that happened also in other situations of him hugging people. Hugs usually are something reserved to women because it's something weak, hugging someone. Also, other hint to what he says before in the song about toxic masculinity. So here in this song, I appreciate very much this song because I feel this don't touch my sexuality because it is something that bothers me as well. So my brother in Christ, I'm with you on this, absolutely. And that's why I specifically like this song. Because yes, there is the theme of authenticity, but also stop discussing my sexuality like it is something belonging to you. It is something belonging to me. Stop talking about it without my consent. Like, it is something that has to discussed by me, not by you. Stop touching it. um yeah, but because the issue is that in this case, I really see Mahmood sort of venting, which makes sense because he does that in many songs. Sometimes he vents about the fact that he has a shitty relationship with his father, and his father is bullshitting him. In Tuta Gold, we see it. In other cases, he's calling out fake friends. Here, he is calling out all those people who keep talking about his sexuality despite him clearly not wanting this topic to be public, which makes sense. Like, it is legit not wanting people to focus on something not that important for your music, something private, something intimate. It makes sense that Mahmood says, my intimacy is not relevant for my songs. Focus on what I say in my songs. Let my sexuality to me. My sexuality is something relevant for my private life, for the people I am with, because these are the people concerned. Okay, that is the case where my sexuality is relevant. In my songs, if I don't talk specifically about my sexuality, stop bringing this topic up, because this is not what I want. This is not what I'm talking about. Why do you have to move the focus when I clearly put the focus on a theme? And I understand, and it makes sense that he's venting about this, because the song is about superficiality. Also authenticity, of course, but the main topic is a criticism to superficiality. And wanting to discuss the sexuality of someone without their consent, or when this is not a relevant topic in that moment, it's something superficial that many journalists create, or people in general do, just for the gossip. Because let's be clear, let's be honest, why do we talk much about relationship? Not because we really care about the relationship of the celebrities, okay? It's just for the gossip, because it's not something relevant for us. In theory, a relationship is relevant only for the people in it. As an external subject, we shouldn't care about it. So, gossiping about relationship, or consequently about someone's sexuality, because then the two things, or their gender, because these things are strictly related, it is often just superficial gossip. And I understand the frustration of an artist, a singer, an actor, an actress, whatever. Maybe they are delivering a performance concerning a work with a specific thematic, and then certain people focus on gossip, which is not relevant. I understand their frustration, because they are like, I'm bringing something to you I worked on, I would like you to talk about that, not about who I fuck, because that's not the point. So, to be fair, I see a lot of frustration in this song. And it is probably why I like it so much, because it is a type of frustration that I know very well personally. And then We have once again the pre-chorus. Mi consolerò, I'll console myself con te, with you. Più semplicità che Chanel, more simplicity than Chanel. Dimmelo chi sei, tell me who you are. Non è solo il sesso che vorrei, it's not just sex I'd like, con te, with you. And from this point of view about venting, about being frustrated, it also makes sense why the pre-chorus start with I'll console myself, because in a certain way, when you reach a certain level of frustration, you need a safe person to go to recharge, because it can be exhausting. Then we have, of course, once again, the chorus. Ma provare a capirti, but try to understand you, per ore, for hours. Ti provoco e resisti, I provoke you and you resist, per ore, for hours. For hours. Alla fine basterà, in the end it will be enough, cadere negli abissi, to fall into the abyss. Insieme, together, per ore, for hours. A little bit saying, in order to defeat superficiality and strengthen our relationship and to be to each other our safe person, you need just one thing, which is to go deep for a long time, to spend meaningful time together. Quality time, of course, but physiologically speaking, also quantity-wise, we need a certain amount of time, which is also quality time. You need to have both. Then we have one last bridge connecting the chorus to the outro. Scusami se non, sorry if I don't, dico la verità, tell or say the truth. Ma se ricadrò, but if I fall back, or more literally, if I fall again, nelle profondità, into the depths, resterai senza bling bling tu, you'll be left without bling bling you, mi amerai come amano i bimbi, you'll love me like children love. Now, a couple of things concerning this part. Here, the only certainty I have concerning this part is that bling bling means, and I quote because it's another urban term, flashy jewelry worn especially as an indication of wealth or status, broadly expensive and ostentatious possessions. So, once again, we have the dichotomy between having the real relationship and the superficial relationship based on money, okay? And generally what you can get and what you can show off from and during the relationship. Now, concerning the first section, sorry if I don't tell the truth, but if I fall back into the depths, you will be left without luxury, okay, without money. This can be meant in several ways, because it is a vague sentence, if we can. But personally, I mean it as at least, ma se ricadrò nelle profondità resterai senza bling bling. if I fall back, if I fall again into the depths, you will be left without bling bling. Here I see a bit. If I go back to a difficult situation, because let's be honest, Mahmood explained that he doesn't come from a rich family, okay? So it is a bit the idea of if something happens to me and I lose my success, so I lose my money, my richness, my everything. So if I fall into the depths, as in a dark situation, in a bad situation, also financially speaking, you will be left without cash luxury. In this case, it is a bit the idea of if you love me without interest, like money, like material wise, if you love me truly for who I am and not for what I have, here like children love, it is used as like to the idea of children is used to convey the idea of something pure without not malicious, okay? So you will really truly love me without other interests, okay? So just for who I am, not for what I have or what I look, what I represent in society. And this is a little like saying if I end up in a difficult situation, you will be obliged to love me in a pure way, without malicious intention, without interest for what I can offer money-wise, materially, because you will be left without the cash, the luxury, okay? At least this is how I see this section. If I lose everything, you have nothing left but loving me for truly for who I am and not for what I can offer materially. And then we have the outro. Io proverò a capirti. I will try to understand you. Per ore, for hours, for hours. Ti provoco e resisti. I provoke you and you resist. Per ore, for hours, for hours. Alla fine, basterà. In the end, it will be enough. Cadere negli abissi, to fall into the abyss, insieme, together, per ore, per ore, per ore. For hours, for hours, for hours. Okay, here this is the moment where I wear my beautiful sunglasses. And we talk about the gossip, but I sort of blurted out all the gossip I knew during the song because, as I like to say, this is a venting song. I have to say that the venting songs are probably a genre. A very specific and recurrent genre for Mahmood because all I'm saying this in a very good way, but all the songs of Mahmood I know, he's bitching about something or someone, and I love it. I love it. So far, I analyzed by Mahmood Rapide and Tuta Gold. I also know Soldi. We can do the analysis of that as well if I receive the request. But I swear to God, now that I think about it, all the songs of Mahmood are about him bitching and venting about something or someone. I love it. Probably, I have to say, this is one of the things I love about Mahmood, because he has at least that couple of lines in the song that are quite salty, where you can feel that he's kind of pissed about something or someone, and he's bitching about it in a very spicy way, and I love it. That's why probably this is one of my favorite love songs, because it is a bitching love song. A bit like the one Francesca Michelin performed at this Sanremo 2025, because she was bitching as well about ex-boyfriend. I have to say that bitching love songs are the best. Yeah, brother just lays indeed. Indeed, absolutely, forsooth. And I love him. I love him for that. It's the vibe of the song. Also because in my opinion, in this song you can kind of feel, because this song per se is a bit melancholic. It gives me a sad vibe, but then you have those spikes of saltiness and bitchiness, and you can feel them, because you have these very peculiar sad romantic sad love song vibe, a bit like Ed Sheeran sort of thing. And then you have, for example, in the bridge, when he says più che l'umanità, qui guardano l'incasso della virilità, and then the music kinda stops, non me ne fotte un cazzo, and you can feel the bitching of Mahmood, like he had to scratch that bitching itch in the back of his head, like to blurt out some bitching, because like it gives that that saltiness, giving the taste to the song. Absolutely queen, king, and the whole court. In Italian we like to say la tocca piano or pianissimo. Now I have to explain this expression. Toccarla pianissimo implied la cosa, literally translates as to touch that, implied to touch it, implied the thing, lightly, softly, delicately, okay? As in a sarcastic and ironic way, because we use it when someone says something salty or spicy, and we say la tocca pianissimo. Another thing we like to say is tirare frecciatine, which literally translates as to throw little arrows, like to throw darts implied at someone. And it basically means to say something salty or spicy about someone or something, with irony, often with irony and sarcasm, to bitch about it. Okay, like to call out someone about something also. So yeah, that's why like I like this song, and it's probably one of my favorite love songs ever. It's all because of the bitching, because it's something like I feel personally the frustration in this song. That's why I appreciate it. It speaks to right to the meow meow. That said, I hope you enjoyed this explanation and you will enjoying the song. As always, let me know in the comments what you think about this song and, of course, the analysis. That said, grazie everyone for watching and arrivederci.